All right, people. I saw a video clip of Mehdi Hasan. Yes, Mehdi Hasan of all people, in which he was actually doing the right thing for once. He was grilling an Iranian politician about killing 30,000 people. He didn't try to water it down. It's actually a pretty good clip. And for a brief moment, that made me respect Mehdi Hasan.
When leading human rights groups like Amnesty International accuse your government of, quote, massacring protesters, when they say they have reviewed, and I'm quoting here, verified videos and eyewitness accounts of, quote, security forces positioned on the streets and on the rooftops of buildings, including houses, mosques, and police stations, repeatedly firing, quote, rifles and shotguns loaded with metal pellets at protesters, frequently targeting their heads and torsos. When Amnesty, no friend of the US or Israeli governments, when Amnesty says that, Dr. Bagai, why should we believe your government and not Amnesty?
Why should believe Amnesty and not
Because they've
Iran?
documented the evidence. You're saying you don't even have the numbers. They've provided evidence, verified videos and eyewitness accounts.
Yeah, you can simply see many of those evidence and videos being provided to them by Israel and United States sources.
It's not. They haven't been provided by Israel. Israel, in fact, criticizes Amnesty the same way you do. I've interviewed Israeli officials, and they accuse Amnesty of fake evidence. You sound, I'm sorry to say, like an Israeli official denying what happened in Gaza.
No.
These are eyewitness accounts, doctors' accounts, video.
You compare Iran's peaceful protest to Gaza? Come on.
No, I'm comparing your response, denying a human rights group report. I'm not quoting the US or Israeli governments. I agree with you. The US and Israeli governments are not reliable when it comes to Iran. I'm quoting an independent human rights group.
I'm not sure they are independent. Otherwise, they would have come and tell the stories of many innocent Iranians that have been killed during the past 27 days. They didn't. Okay.
Because they're not allowed to get into Iran. Mehdi Hasan had a good opportunity to jump in here and say, you don't let people come in. And the people who do go inside Iran, they're taken to designated areas where they make propaganda videos, like we saw with Busha Sheikh and some other influences from the West. Kind of like how Stalin used to do. There was a Western journalist, I can't remember his name. He went into the Soviet Union in the 30s, and he was shown Soviet fields where farmers were dancing and working and smiling. And he went back and he wrote an article in the Times, I think it was American. And he said, Stalin is building a true utopia where workers are actually happy. He was convinced of that. Now, okay, you could be forgiven of that back in the 30s, but now Iran is doing the same thing. They have brought in influences from the West, and they've been taken to these designated places where people are smiling, mostly all of them are regime loyalists, and they're like, whoa, everything is perfectly fine. Some people like Busha Sheikh even went to their missile factories, and they had missiles in the background, and they were doing propaganda for the regime that, oh, if America or Israel attacks, ooh, all hell's going to break loose. And it hasn't broken loose, but they do hold the card of blocking the Strait of Hormuz. That is a major choke point for the world and the world economy. I don't know. I'm not an expert. But that's pure propaganda. Yes, they have allowed CNN and BBC as well, but even those journalists, they can only go to predefined places. They can't report freely as they would if they were in Israel or in Australia or in any other free country. So Mehdi, maybe he didn't want to complicate the argument, but knowing Mehdi doesn't shy away from that. So Mehdi, you missed an easy full toss, as we say in cricket.
So what I'm saying that, in all honesty, I said the government, the president office, published the names of those who were killed during this protest. And we were transparent to say that they were killed by whom. We said that 2,400 of them were regarded as martyrs because they were killed either by the gunmen, they were either the police officers or the innocent bystanders. Many, and you can say that, yes, 600 of them were either the infiltrators or those gunmen.
But what about the eyewitness accounts of people being brought into hospitals, heads and faces shot full of pellets by Iranian security forces? Human Rights Watch have documented that. Amnesty International have documented that. Multiple media outfits. You're saying all these eyewitnesses are lying.
And I've actually seen those videos as well, which I can't really play them here. I actually made a dedicated video. 2 nurses were brutally gang raped by IRGC thugs for simply treating the protesters that were brought in after this indiscriminate killing. And obviously I have seen photos and videos, patients lying in their hospital beds, shot. I've seen bullet holes in their heads. Well, they were also Mossad agents, and if they were, is that how you treat them? This is a tyrannical regime. There should never be any doubt about that. But Mehdi Hasan is Mehdi Hasan. He thinks he's very smart, but he's actually not. Let me play you this video by Secretary Marco Rubio, and he said something really fair. But then Mehdi Hasan responded to that, which I'll show you his response, which doesn't make sense at all. So let's have a look what Secretary Rubio is saying.
And at the end of the day, I think that if there are people in Iran who now, given everything that's happened, are willing to move in a different direction for their country, that would be great. Imagine in Iran that instead of spending their wealth, billions of dollars supporting terrorists or weapons, had spent that money helping the people of Iran, you'd have a much different country. So we are always hopeful that would exist over there.
That's a pretty fair argument. And Prince Reza Pahlavi, he's been saying constantly, and he is supported by a lot of people. I don't know what the percentage is, 50, 60, 70%. He is overwhelmingly the most popular leader in Iran at the moment. I don't know why the naysayers, why the lefties, they keep saying, oh, we don't know who's going to be the central figure in this transitional phase. I don't know why they're downplaying it. Maybe they're downplaying it because they think by downplaying his authority, they can undermine this operation. I'm not in favor of boots on the ground, but I wouldn't be undermining US forces. This operation may not give us the result that we want. That is entirely a possibility. But to abandon the Iranian people in the middle, this regime enjoys less than 20% support from the Iranian public. And the only other popular leader is Prince Reza Pahlavi. Every protest video I have seen, they scream Javed Shah. So I don't know why the left or people who are suffering from TDS, they keep undermining his position. But anyway, so he has constantly said that the new Iran under him will be a Western-style, prosperous, liberal democracy. They'll have a referendum whether it's going to be a constitutional republic or it's going to be a constitutional monarchy. But either way, they will not be supporting terrorist proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah. And the Iranian people have legitimate grievances. They look at their neighbors like Qatar and Saudi Arabia and the UAE. They have quality of life that is comparable to the West. Whereas people in Iran, they're about to lose access to clean drinking water. So have a look at this pathetic response by Mehdi Hasan. It doesn't even make any sense. Imagine if instead of spending billions of dollars in supporting genocide or weapons, the US had spent that money helping the people of America. They would have a much different country. Actually, no, America is too big. If you spend, I don't know, $5-10 billion, how much aid does the US give to Israel per year? $3.8 billion. That is nothing. Let me respond to Mehdi Hasan in real time. That's a very dumb post. Okay, so that's a very dumb post. $3.8 billion will not impact the life of the average US citizen at all. But if Iran stops spending billions of dollars on Islamist proxies, the quality of life for the people of Iran would improve drastically. That is a fact. But Mehdi Hasan wrote a book, How to Win Every Single Argument. Every single argument. And he made a dumb post like that. That is a dumb, dumb post. And the second point, he's comparing US supporting the only democracy in the Middle East, okay? The US is not saying go and butcher and genocide. First of all, there is no genocide. But the US is not saying go and butcher Palestinian civilians. That's not what the US is saying. The US is supporting Israel's right to exist because the US does not want Israel to be attacked by its very aggressive, much larger neighbors and basically wipe the state of Israel, as the Islamic Republic of Iran has promised and indicated many times. So how is the US supporting the only democracy in the Middle East is similar to the Islamic Republic of Iran creating and supporting terrorist Islamist proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis? The two are not the same. Sure, if you are the Islamic Republic of Iran, then you may say, hang on, these are not terrorist Islamist proxies. According to our worldview, these are resistance fighters. Fine, if you want to hold that view. But Mehdi Hasan doesn't supposedly hold that view. Mehdi Hasan lives in the West. He is supposed to care about human rights and organizations like Amnesty and Human Rights Watch. And he supposedly believes in democracy and free speech, etc., which is all a charade. We know that because deep down inside, he's an Islamist. So the two things are not the same. According to the UN, Israel is a legitimate government. the Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah, these are non-state actors. America is helping out a UN-recognized state, i.e. Israel. The Islamic Republic of Iran is secretly arming and funding non-state actors like Hamas and Hezbollah. That is against international law that they keep reminding us of. Okay? Mehdi Hasan, what happened to following international law? These two things are not the same. But anyway, he's an Islamist. So just for a brief moment, he earned my respect. But I think he does that just so he can tell other people like me that, hey, look, I criticize them too. Hey, look, haven't you seen my viral clip, how I grilled an Iranian official? He could have grilled him even more, but you know what? Fair enough. I'll take it. And by the way, Mehdi Hasan got attacked a lot by Muslims, a lot. So that's why he just does this every now and then just to appear balanced, but he's not.